So on April 7, 2022, the Liberal government introduced their 2022 federal budget. Obviously, this has impacts of Canada-wide, including things related to real estate. Let's get into it though, guys. Let's talk about that anti-flipping tax first and foremost. What the government is doing is that they're going to charge you business tax, income tax on any sale that's less than 1 year. This does include your primary residence as well, which is very different than what we were allowed to do in the past, or well, current legislation anyway says that your primary residence, if you sell it, doesn't matter if it's within a year, you are able to gain 100% tax free, and that's amazing, and that's still there. The only difference is that because the government is trying to reduce flipping or short-term sales, they're seeing this as speculative trading in our marketplace, even if it's your primary residence. In addition to that, if you have a secondary property as an investment property, typically when you sell that property, you do get charged tax, but it's only on 50% of the gain. So if you made $50,000 on a sale of your investment property, you were only really charged tax on $25,000 of that $50,000 gain. When you sell your primary residence, if you would have made a $50,000 gain, you would actually get taxed $0. However, there's a caveat now. As of January 1st, 2023, we're now going to get charged business tax on any sale less than 1 year. If you are somebody who's looking to get into the flipping game, you know what? You should really consider that this is something a lot of experienced flippers are already used to. It's been a known thing for the last few years now that the CRA does track whenever you buy and sell homes less than a year or in short term. They're going to start calling you out on this, and they're going to start charging you business tax anyways. On to the next one. We're talking about the proposed home buyers bill of rights. I don't really think that we have any set dates on these particular bill. Obviously it needs to get approved. Let's just talk about some of the things that they wanted to include, or some of the things that they wanted to kind of change. One of the first things that was interesting to me is put an end to blind bidding. Let's put this into context. So basically, when somebody's selling a home and there's, let's say, 5 buyers that want to buy that property, we go into a bidding war or a multiple offer scenario. Somebody wants to submit an offer, they submit it to the listing agent. Let's say I'm the listing agent selling, 123 Main Street. Really, it's only me, the listing agent, and the seller who knows all offers. We know the offer details, the terms, the price points. Typically, the rule is that we're not supposed to be sharing that information with each individual buyer. Go to the flip side here. As a buyer submitting one of those 5 offers, what do I know? I know my offer, I know the listing price, I'm in contact with the listing agent, but I don't know those 4 other buyers, I don't know those 4 other buyer agents, and I don't know what the price points they're at, their terms. It's completely blind. And sometimes what happens is that out of those 5 offers, there might be 2 or 3 offers that are kind of similar. As a listing agent, you may say, you know what, out of these 5 offers, I'm going to give 3 of you guys a chance to kind of come back and improve on maybe some terms. Maybe there's a closing date that was off that we needed to get changed. Maybe we're asking to remove conditions to make the offer stronger. Most of the time though, it really comes down to price. Me as a listing agent, I know obviously what the 3 offers are. There might be one that's kind of ahead at the moment, and what I'm letting those 3 offers know is that, hey guys, talk to your buyers and see what you guys can do to improve your offer in order to win this house. And that's kind of how it goes down. You really don't know what the 2 other offers are, and so at this point you might be increasing your price, you might be removing conditions, you might be doing whatever you can here you're okay with as a buyer in order to purchase this property. In the end, the buyer that has the best offer and terms ends up winning the property, ends up buying the property. And as soon as the deposit goes in, we update our MLS listing. We'll let all the other buyers know that, hey, we ended up selling it at X amount. And as the buyer, really all you know again is your offer, your terms, and the winning offer at the end of the day. You don't really know the details of anything else in between, and that's kind of how it's operating right now. So what they want to eliminate is really this blind process of you not knowing what the other offers are, and they want to make things a little bit more transparent. They think that this is better for our real estate market because it should limit the price increases that we've been seeing whenever there's a hot market and going through bidding wars. I have sold quite a bit of homes. We've done a lot of offer dates over the years, and what I notice is that without me telling the buyers where to go with their price, the top offers end up always coming around the same. It's very rare for somebody to just blow out of the water and offer much higher than the other offers. Typically, we're really close together 8-9 times out of 10. That just shows me that buyer is willing to go to a certain number, and a lot of the time competing offers are typically looking to go around the same sort of numbers. One country that's doing this already is Australia. You can do your research yourself. You can go on YouTube here and check out maybe to see what Australian bidding wars look like. They're literally like storage wars when you're outside of the unit.
Yeah. Have you bought here before?
Yep.
Bidding for the house. You know exactly what the other person's bidding. It's a little bit more open. Is that going to calm down prices? Is that going to cause buyers to put less on their offer because they know what the other person has? Or is it going to cause them to go even higher? This is the debatable thing. I mean, we're not doing this here at the moment. There is one study though. It's from the Smart Prosperity Institute. They conducted a study. They actually are suggesting that doing an open bidding process is actually going to increase prices even more than the blind process. I mean, there's always two sides to the coin. OREA, which is the Ontario Real Estate Association, is already kind of lobbying against this change, kind of saying that it's a step backwards. We're eliminating option for sellers to sell property in the way that they want, because really by putting this legislation in, they really going us only one option. We got to do open bidding, right? At the moment, you can do it if you want. It's just not the common practice here in Ontario, here in Canada. I think either way, we can be successful on a sale, can be successful on the buying side to purchase the home, whether it be blind bidding or open bidding. You know, I think we're going to carry forward. It's going to be a change that is going to be kind of take a little bit of time for people to adjust, and we will, and we're going to continue on. Now, another thing that they wanted to change or include into this bill is a mandatory, or at least the legal right to have an inspection. So that means you don't have to put a condition for inspection. You're always going to have the ability to have an inspection. I don't know exactly how they're going to implement that, but I'm assuming it's going to give you the ability to do an inspection and possibly even back out if you don't like what the inspection reveals. I don't mind that one at all, right? It actually lets you know exactly what's going on with the property. It's going to give you a list of major, minor defects in the property, things that need to get fixed right away. Typically, when I help our buyers out, you know, if we do have an inspection condition in there, I always go on the side of inspections. Really good relationship with inspectors across the city and the GTA, and we get good information about our properties. So, you know, we have a little bit more peace of mind of knowing what I am purchasing. I mean, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that could give a little bit more transparency to the buying process, and it could be a positive change. Let's see if that comes to be. The other thing as well is that it wants to make it mandatory for banks and lenders to give all options to clients, let them know about incentive programs like the first-time home buyer incentive, let them know of all mortgage options so that they're not getting swindled in a way. And they also want to give buyers the ability to have a deferral. So they want lenders and banks to be able to offer up to 6-month deferral if in case you have like a major life event or maybe a loss of a job, to kind of help you in those moments. This was kind of implemented during the pandemic where people were getting, I believe, up to 3 months of deferrals in case they lost their job or they were laid off due to COVID-19. You know, some people did take advantage of that. However, I know for a fact that on the mortgage side, it did actually impact people negatively when they did accept that deferral, right? It actually impacted them getting refinances afterwards, purchasing new properties afterwards, because they'll look back and they saw the history of the fact that you got deferral. So I think that's kind of one of those things that I think that you need to really look at if they're going to implement this. You know, I think that's kind of unfair if they're going to give them a deferral, give you ability to defer payments because of a life event. Like, you shouldn't be penalized later because something happened. But that is another thing that they're looking to implement in this bill. They also want to have agents actually give a few more disclosures when they're helping people buy and sell homes, which is fine. I'm always on the side of transparency. I'm definitely very open with our clients if we're involved in any sort of way on both sides of the transaction, representing buyer and seller. Sometimes those situations are a little bit sticky. I have helped people in the past like that and it has worked out well. However, if there is multiple buyers, I think it's a little bit tricky. In those moments, I typically refer the buyer to another agent in the office because it's really hard to kind of be on both sides and represent a seller and a buyer adequately if there is multiple buyers. If there is only 2 people involved and you're kind of in the middle, I think it is very possible to come to an agreement that's beneficial to everyone. This is a home buyer bills of rights that's being proposed. They're not implemented yet. I don't have any dates on this sort of stuff, but it is very interesting that trying to implement these things to impact our real estate market. I think it's all in the name of being transparent. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Definitely leave comments below to see what you guys feel about these changes and if they should be implemented or not.